There's been something that's just been on my mind, and I think I need to share it with you. Stick around.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Shin.
Hey, there's just been something popping up on my mind in a variety of different ways in some of my morning devotional time, and just popping up from a health and fitness, clear mind standpoint. And that is the importance of resting. So I'm going to share some reasons why, and then I'm going to give you some tips. Some of the ones that I've developed myself, some I've researched, just some things that you can actually take away, some action items from today. You can actually start to improve your productivity, your effectiveness, and honestly, your overall health. So let's get started. Busyness. Eugene Peterson says that busyness is an illness of the spirit. I thought that was interesting. And the question I asked myself recently is, what areas of my life are out of rest? Or you might think of them as being out of balance. Um, I've read recently that poor sleep leads to heart disease and cancer. These are the number one and number two causes of death in America at the moment. And again, whether you're a believer or not, you're faith based or not, you believe in a God or not, the reality is God ordained us to stop and rest weekly, and that's the Sabbath. That's for most people, it's a Sunday. If you look at the model of Jesus, again, whether you're a believer or not, there's a lot of cool things in the Bible that are just great teaching moments or teaching opportunities or examples of ways that we could be better as human beings. And Jesus, modeling Jesus, or looking at some of the lifestyle and the habits of Jesus are important. And if you read anything about Jesus, you read the Bible at all, you'll see that often he went away. He needed to get away from, not only from the big crowds that were starting to just crush in on him physically as well as psychologically, but he also needed to get away from his friends. Often, if you've watched the series The Chosen, you'll see examples where the disciples were like, where's Jesus? We got to go find him. Somebody needs him. And Jesus would get away even from his closest friends. Now he used it to he used it to meditate, to get close to his Father, to have a relationship with God. But the bottom line was, it's a great habit to realize sometimes you just need to get away, and it even get away from good things. I think the constant driving pursuit of almost anything, fill in the blank with the thing that you're doing, this can lead to burnout. So you've just got to be conscious of how you're spending your time, and conscious of the opportunities to get away and the opportunities you need to make to rest, to take a break. Um, I think your body and your mind needs rest, and that's why some of the things I'm going to share with you today. Some of the things I'm going to share with you today are for the mind. They're mental. They're psychological. So for me, the two things that I regularly do, and I'll share this, and then I'm going to give you a whole host of other tips. But for me, on a daily basis, my morning routine has been not only the way for me to the physiology of what happens when you work out, and when you stop and you meditate, and you spend some quiet time and you spend some thinking time. These are just great for the mind, and they're great physically, and the physical part helps you with your mind. So I always, in the morning, I take about 90 minutes, and I have a morning routine of exercise, eating a good breakfast, and then getting some quiet time. Again, for me, it's meditation. For me, it's spiritual. So it's meditation with my God, but at the end of the day, you can still just meditate, and that's important. The other big thing I personally do is almost without question, I'm going to take a day off every week. And for me, it's mostly going to be Sundays, but once in a while, there may be something going on. I may have to travel on a Sunday. So sometimes it's Saturday, but I make sure that almost every weekend I have a day off. I have a break from work. I don't take any calls. I don't work in my office. The bad part, there's a lot of benefits of working from home, but the bad part of working from home these days is that you can work constantly. You can, and again, mentally, psychologically, it's almost like a magnet. You're almost sucked into the office. All of these things on your mind that you think need to be addressed or need to be done. So clearly, again, I'm very disciplined. One day a week, I'm going to focus on my family. One day a week, I'm going to spend time exercising, getting away, hiking, biking. But I'm going to take a specific no work, no phone calls, no email day every week to refresh and rejuvenate. And I want to also say that the reality is that when you take the big breaks, your vacations, you need to do it without working. So let me that's going to help me transition to just really giving you some tips and some and some real things that you can apply in your own business or in your own life and in your own business. All right. So that's the first one I'm going to talk about. No work downtime. Uh, uh, do it daily. Have a break in your days. Again, specifically working from home. I go out on my deck and I just breathe fresh air. I just look around, what's cool happening, birds singing, clouds in the sky, whatever it might be, but just something to get you up and get you out and get you away mentally from your work. On vacations, I clearly, again, I have done in between stuff, but when I was in the throes of growing a business and the demands of running businesses myself, I had to leave the computer at home. No checkings of emails. Again, not every vacation. I wasn't 100% perfect on this, but I tried very, very hard to get totally away and not work at all. And the great example I thought was very, very recently is the fact that if Bill Belichick and if Nick Saban can be replaced in a week, you think you're really that important that you can't break the ties from work for 7 days or 10 days? Nobody is that important. Your company, nobody is irreplaceable. And your companies, especially if it's a big company, they're not going to care. If you were there or not there, no offense to any big companies, there might be an exception. But for the most part, again, using the example of the dynamic careers and industry leaders that a Nick Saban and a Bill Belichick were, if they can be replaced in less than a week, there's no organization that cares that much about you that you should give it all and candidly put your health in jeopardy. So I will also tell you that, I don't know, maybe this is a once in a lifetime, but I wanted to prove it to myself. I wanted to prove it to my staff that I believed in them and I counted on them. I actually took a 4-week sabbatical, so to speak, totally away from the business, told them not to call me unless the building was literally on fire. And I honestly, I went into the business once during those 4 weeks because I was the only one who legally could sign something that had to be signed. Other than that one time, slipping in, I did not call the office. They did not call me. I went to Hawaii for 10 days. It was my 50th birthday. I turned around, came home for a few days, went to Belarus on a church mission trip, at which I could almost not reach out based on when it was and where it was. Could almost not ever have, no internet and very limited cell service, those kinds of things. So the reality is you need to take those breaks, those absolutely no work breaks. Another thing is, very, very simply, candidly, cut yourself a break. Give yourself permission to stop. Again, that could be on a daily basis. You should try that, definitely on a weekly basis, but give yourself permission. Break away. It's okay. Trust me, it's okay. Another very simple, well, not very simple for everybody, but another thing that doesn't cost you any money and doesn't cost you any time is to work on being present. I find being present, being in the moment, is very relaxing because I'm not thinking about all the phone calls I've got to return, and I'm not thinking of problems that I've had or problems that I'm in the middle of. I'm not focused on my situation. I'm focused on the person that's in front of me. I'm focused on the people I'm around. So work on being present. It's very relaxing, and I find it to be very, very restful. And candidly, it's very respectful of the people that you're with. The people that you're will love it that you're immersed in them, and you're not worried about what's coming next. You're not worried about what's next on your calendar. You're not worried about work and all of those other issues. So be present. A couple of other things. Meditation. I have a software platform that I tap into for meditations. It also has been teaching me deeper breathing, slow, deeper breathing. Again, studies have shown that that breathing deeply really does help your heart. I have a Fitbit. You might have an Apple Watch. The bottom line is that I can tell through my deep breathing, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, deep breathing, my pulse goes down significantly. So that's very relaxing. Again, that's kind of a daily spot thing you can do, but it will help you mentally. It will help your heart. As I said, it will help you physically. So deep breathing and meditation. And the last one I'm going to talk about is social media, and I'll even throw in, honestly, television, because that, and I'll say the news in particular. So much of this stuff is so negative. It's so easy to focus on these things and get down. And when our mind is, in those doom loops and just going down and totally negative, that will help, or that will hurt us physically. So from time to time, take a break from your social media. Leave the phone away, that it's not going to buzz every time you have an alert coming in. Get rid of some of the alerts. This is something I did. I found somehow there were a number of different things that alerts were coming through, and I never signed up for them, but I learned how to delete the alerts. So my phone's not buzzing as much today as it has been. But you may actually need to do a total detox. I've had a couple of times over the last couple of years where I just felt I've just got to get away from it. I've just got to get away from it and total unplug. The news, any way that I get my news, the social media. Sometimes that's harder to do if your business, like for me, my business is tied into a lot of social media stuff. So that's difficult for me to do. But in particular, the news, which is always negative. This is something that I have had to detox from. I took 30 days to just kind of break out of those constant barrages of being negative. So I wanted to share about rest, really important. As I said in my tagline at the beginning of the posting of this video, I said that rest could be the most productive thing you do today. So learn to rest. You now have some real things that you can do to change, to add rest into your routines, to get healthier physically and mentally through rest.